One night, while she was sleeping on her bed, she had a terrible dream. In her dream, she saw a young girl on white backing her, and when she turned around, it was Adure. Adure said to her,
"You evil woman, you killed my mother."
Once upon a time, in a village called Ikuru, there lived a woman called Inine. Inine was married to a local businessman called Ota. They had been married for 8 years and had only one child, whose name was Adure. Inine and Ota were happy couples, and they were peacefully living together as sweet couples. Things were going so well for this family until a devil in human form crept in to destroy the joy, love, and peace of this family. And from there, terrible things began to arise in their marriage. This was how it all began. Inine's husband was a local businessman who traveled weekly for his business. Most times, he would spend 4 days away from home. Because of the nature of his business, he was not opportune to come home regularly or stay home too often. He always came home when he had no business, and that was during the weekends. Inine and her husband have been living this way for the past 7 years and had no issue or trouble regarding the nature of her husband's business. They understood themselves, and there was so much peace in the family because Inine was a very understanding and respectful wife to her husband. But things began to change for the worst when Inine met a lady named Une. She met Une at the church and they became friends. Very close friends, and from time to time, Une would visit Inine's house and spend some time with her. They would discuss together, gist, laugh, and eat together. They became very close friends. Une was a lady in her late 30s. She was 38 years old, and yet she was unmarried. She was a desperate single lady. She began to visit Inine regularly, and their friendship grew really strong. But then, the unimaginable began to happen. One Saturday morning, Une visited Inine, but unfortunately for Inine, her husband happened to be at home. As Une was sitting in front of Inine's house, she saw Inine's husband stepping out of the house. As soon as Une set her eyes on Inine's husband, she was dumbfounded and she could not believe her eyes. She said to herself, "Oh my God, so this is Inine's husband. He's so handsome and yet so rich. How do most women get so lucky to get such goodness in a man? Just look at what my fellow woman has. Why is my life so unfair? But I will make it fair by force. Yes, I will. This is the kind of man I've always wished for. I am sorry, Inine, but this time you will have to share with me." Innocent Inine did not know what her friend was thinking in her heart against her. She never knew a big doom was looming around her family. She sat beside her and continued talking with her friend. After that day, Une began to visit her more regularly than before. And each time she visited Inine, she would continue to ask her questions about her husband and what he does. Inine, who had nothing in mind, kept telling her friend things about her husband, the kind of work the husband does, how good the husband is to her. She began to open up and tell her friends lots of information about her marriage.
My husband is a businessman and he doesn't really come home that often. He comes home only weekends, and most times he doesn't come home in 2 weeks or more.
You mean your husband doesn't come home regularly?
Yes, and it has been like that for years.
Do you like your marriage at all? Your husband doesn't come home regularly and you are keeping quiet. Inine, you are playing with fire. Real fire, and soon it will burn you. If it was me, I would not accept such nonsense.
How am I playing with fire? He has been doing his business for years and he has not misbehaved. My husband is a good man.
My sister, you need to wake up. You know, I can never deceive you. For him to be staying out that long, he must surely have a woman there. Very soon, you won't have a husband again. You need to act fast before it is too late. Confront him and ask him, and you will see for yourself. Men can't be trusted. You need to wake up, my sister. Une began to poison Inine's mind by giving her bad advice, and Inine foolishly began to take those advices. She began to act based on the bad advice she got from her friend. Whenever her husband came back, she began to question him and accuse him of having an affair with another woman somewhere else. But her husband, being a responsible and kind man, did not react to her allegations. Rather, he tried to explain to his wife that what she thought was not true. But Inine was not ready to hear her husband out. She began to disrespect her husband, acting very stubborn. Her husband became confused and could not understand the sudden change in his wife's behavior.